Someone in your life right now is not who they say they are. They smile at you. They show up at your events. They know your secrets. They call themselves your friend, and they are using every single piece of access you have given them to serve themselves in ways you have not yet seen. Machiavelli had a name for these people. He studied them for decades. He watched them bring down kings, collapse alliances, and destroy from the inside what no outside enemy ever could. And he left behind a precise, ruthless system for identifying them before they finish what they started. By the end of this video, you will never look at the people around you the same way again. And that is not a threat. That is a gift. Machiavelli wrote something that most people cannot bring themselves to fully accept. He wrote that the distance between a friend and an enemy is often nothing more than a change in circumstances. That the person standing beside you today, loyal and warm and dependable, can become the person working against you tomorrow, the moment their interests shift. Not because people are universally evil, but because people are fundamentally self-interested, and self-interest left unexamined will always eventually override loyalty when the cost of loyalty becomes too high. This observation did not make Machiavelli popular. It still does not, because we want to believe in unconditional friendship. We want to believe that the people we have chosen to let close to us have also chosen us, with the same depth, the same permanence, the same willingness to remain loyal when remaining loyal costs something real. Sometimes that is true. There are real friends in the world, people of genuine character who would stand beside you in the fire and not let go. But Machiavelli's point was that you cannot tell the real ones from the false ones by how they behave when things are easy. You can only tell them apart when things get hard. And by the time things get hard, if you have not already learned to read the signs, it is often too late. Today, we are going to learn the signs, 7 of them, pulled directly from Machiavelli's observations about loyalty, betrayal, and the anatomy of false alliance. By the time this video ends, you will have a framework for seeing what has always been right in front of you. Sign number 1. They appear closest when you have the most to offer. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the way fortune attracts followers. When a prince was powerful, wealthy, and rising, he was surrounded by supporters, advisors who offered their wisdom freely, allies who pledged their loyalty without hesitation, friends who never seemed to tire of his company. And then the prince fell on hard times, lost a battle, faced a political reversal, found himself temporarily without resources or influence. And in the space of weeks, the court that had been full of devoted followers became nearly empty. The advisors found urgent business elsewhere. The allies discovered reasons why the alliance no longer served them. The friends stopped calling. Machiavelli called these people fair-weather followers, and he reserved a particular kind of contempt for them. Not because their behavior was surprising, but because so many princes were surprised by it. Because the signs had always been there, visible to anyone willing to look. The fair-weather friend gravitates toward you in direct proportion to what you can offer them. When your life is going well, when you are ascending, when you have resources or connections or status or energy to give, they are present, enthusiastic, warm, seemingly devoted. But watch what happens during a difficult season, a financial loss, a professional setback, a period of grief or illness where you have nothing to give and everything to need. The fair-weather friend does not disappear dramatically. They rarely do. They simply become gradually less available, slightly harder to reach, busier than usual, full of good intentions that never quite materialize into actual presence. And when you emerge from the difficult season, suddenly they are back, ready to reconnect, bearing no acknowledgement of their absence, treating the friendship as if it had been maintained all along, because in their mind it had been. It is just that friendship to them has always meant something different than it means to you. The test Machiavelli would prescribe is simple. Observe the pattern over time, not in individual moments. A single absence during hardship means little. A consistent pattern of presence during your abundance and absence during your need means everything. That pattern is not coincidence. It is character. The practice. Think back across the last 2 years. Who showed up when you were struggling? Who was suddenly busy? The answer to those two questions is the most accurate map of your actual social circle that you will ever have. Sign number 2. They celebrate your struggles more than your successes. This one is subtle, and because it is subtle, it is one of the most dangerous signs to miss. Machiavelli observed in his political writing that the most threatening person in any court was not the open enemy. The open enemy was manageable. You knew where they stood. You could prepare accordingly. The truly dangerous figure was the one who sat close to you, who smiled warmly at your victories, but whose eyes told a different story. There is a phenomenon that psychologists today call envy dressed as friendship. And Machiavelli, who had no access to modern psychology, described it with surgical precision 500 years ago. The fake friend cannot fully celebrate your success. Something in them resists it, not always consciously, not always with full self-awareness, but the resistance is there, and it leaks out in specific ways if you know what to look for. They offer compliments that contain a sting. You did so well, considering. That is impressive. I did not think you had it in you. You are lucky things worked out. The compliment is present, but so is the diminishment. The hand gives with one motion and takes back with the other. They pivot quickly from your good news to their own story. You share something meaningful, something you are genuinely proud of, and within 2 sentences, the conversation has shifted to their experience, their achievement, their challenge. Not out of excitement, but out of a deep discomfort with the spotlight being on you. They are more comfortable with your problems than your wins. When you are struggling, they lean in. They are engaged, present, generous with their time. When you are thriving, there is a flatness to them that they cannot quite conceal. Your pain is where they feel most useful. Your success is where they feel most threatened. Machiavelli would say, pay attention to who becomes more energized by your low points than your high ones. Because a person who is nourished by your struggle and diminished by your success is not organized around your well-being. They are organized around the version of you that makes them feel better about themselves. The practice: share a genuine piece of good news with the people closest to you and observe the response, not just the words. The energy, the body language, the speed at which the conversation moves away from your win. Your nervous system will register the difference between someone who is genuinely happy for you and someone who is performing happiness while feeling something else entirely. Sign number 3. They know your secrets, but share none of their own. In Machiavelli's analysis of political alliance, the imbalance of information was always a warning sign. When one party in a relationship knows significantly more about the other than the other knows about them, the party with more information holds more power. Always. Because information is leverage. And leverage in the wrong hands is a weapon waiting for the right moment to be used. The fake friend is an expert at creating this imbalance without you ever noticing it is happening. They are warm. They are curious. They ask the right questions. They create an atmosphere of intimacy that makes you feel safe enough to open up, to share the things you do not share with everyone, to give them access to the interior parts of your life that you guard most carefully. They seem to reciprocate. They share things too. But if you pay close attention over time, what they share is carefully curated. It is intimate sounding without being truly revealing. It creates the feeling of mutual vulnerability without the reality of it. Meanwhile, you have given them the real thing, the fears, the doubts, the failures you are ashamed of, the relationships that are fragile, the ambitions that scare you, the exact information that, in the wrong hands, could be used to hurt you, to undermine you, or to position themselves advantageously at your expense. Machiavelli wrote that the wise prince keeps his counsel close and shares only what serves his purpose. He was not prescribing paranoia. He was prescribing discernment. He was saying that trust in any relationship should be extended proportionally to what has been demonstrated, not proportionally to how warmly someone has asked for it. Real intimacy is mutual. Real friendship is built on a reciprocal willingness to be known, including known in the unflattering places. If the information flow in your friendship has only ever moved in one direction, that is not intimacy. That is intelligence gathering. And at some point, gathered intelligence gets used. The practice: audit your closest friendships for information balance. How much do they know about your real interior life? How much do you know about theirs? If the gap is significant and consistently in their favor, you have given someone a map to your vulnerabilities without receiving one in return. That asymmetry deserves your attention. Sign number 4. They position themselves between you and other people. Machiavelli understood power as something that flows through relationships. And one of the oldest, most effective ways to gain power over someone is to position yourself as the essential mediator between them and everyone else in their world. The fake friend does this instinctively, sometimes deliberately, sometimes not. But the pattern is unmistakable once you recognize it. They have strong opinions about the other people in your life. They find reasons to cast doubt on your other friendships. This person said something about you. That person is not as loyal as you think. I heard something that concerned me. Each disclosure is wrapped in apparent care for you. They are just looking out for you. They just want you to know what they know. But the effect over time is that your trust in other people erodes while your dependency on this one person increases. You start seeing your other relationships through the filter of their commentary. You pull back from connections that might have served you. You become, gradually and without realizing it, more isolated, more dependent, more tethered to the one person who has been carefully, systematically positioning themselves as your primary source of social truth. Machiavelli saw this tactic deployed constantly in the courts he navigated. An advisor who wanted to increase their influence over a prince would not do it openly. They would do it by shaping how the prince saw everyone else, by becoming the lens through which the prince interpreted his own world. Because the person who controls the lens controls the seeing, and the person who controls the seeing controls, eventually, everything that follows. Real friends expand your world. They introduce you to people, encourage your other connections, celebrate when you have a full and varied social life that does not center entirely on them. The fake friend, consciously or not, contracts your world, because a contracted world is a more controllable one. The practice: ask yourself who in your life most frequently offers unsolicited opinions about your other relationships. Who plants the seeds of doubt about the people you are close to? Now ask whether those seeds have grown into distance between you and people who may not have deserved it. That is the map of the influence you have been living inside. Sign number 5. Their loyalty is always conditional on your compliance. Here is one of the most precise things Machiavelli ever wrote about false allies. He wrote that the loyalty of those who are drawn to you by interest alone will vanish the moment their interest is better served elsewhere. And you will know these people by one specific quality: they are devoted when you agree with them and cold when you do not. The conditional friend is warm when you are behaving in the ways that serve them, when you are available when they want you, agreeable to their ideas, supportive of their choices, willing to participate in their narratives about themselves and the world. In those conditions, the friendship feels real. It feels reciprocal. It feels like something worth keeping. But the moment you exercise your own autonomy, the temperature drops. You disagree with their assessment of a situation. You make a decision they did not approve of. You set a boundary they find inconvenient. You choose something for yourself that does not factor in their preference. And suddenly the warmth is gone. The availability decreases. There is a coldness, a distance, a punishing withdrawal of affection that is designed to teach you something. Compliance is rewarded. Independence is not. This is not friendship. This is conditioning. And it works because the withdrawal of warmth from someone you care about is painful enough that most people will modify their behavior to restore it. They will apologize for choices that needed no apology. They will abandon positions they were right to hold. They will shrink themselves back into the shape that was acceptable just to stop the cold. Machiavelli would call this a slow, sophisticated form of control, because it never looks like control from the inside. It looks like a friendship that simply works better when you are at your best, which is how the person exercising the control has framed it. You're not being controlled. The friendship just flows more smoothly when you are not being difficult. The practice. Think about the friendships in your life where you regularly feel the need to manage your own behavior, soften your own opinions, or avoid certain topics to preserve the peace. Then ask whether that navigation is something you also do for genuinely important relationships, like the ones where you choose tact out of care, or whether it is something different, something that looks more like walking on eggshells and feeling like the stability of the connection depends on your continued compliance. Sign number 6. They use your information against you. This is the sign that people often see most clearly in retrospect. The one that, looking back, makes everything else fall into place with a sick kind of clarity. Machiavelli wrote that the prince who shares his vulnerabilities with the wrong people has essentially handed them the blade and guided it toward his own throat. Not because all people are malicious, but because information has gravity. It tends over time to be used in whatever direction serves the person holding it. The fake friend does not usually use your information in a single, dramatic act of betrayal. That would be too obvious, too easy to trace back. Instead, they use it in small ways, across time, in ways that are deniable enough to make you question whether you are even reading the situation correctly. They mention something in front of others that you shared with them in private, casually enough that it might have been an accident. They bring up your insecurities at exactly the moment when you are most vulnerable to them. They use what they know about your history, your fears, or your past mistakes to frame you in ways that serve their narrative in a group. They offer opinions about you to other people, opinions that are too precisely aimed at your weak points to be anything other than informed by what you told them. And when you notice, when something in you registers the wrongness of it, the response is always the same. You are being too sensitive. You are misreading it. They would never. They care about you. They are your friend. That response, delivered confidently enough, can make you distrust your own perception. And your perception, clouded by your desire for the friendship to be what you thought it was, is often willing to be doubted. That doubt is the final part of the mechanism, because as long as you doubt yourself, you will not act on what you know. Machiavelli's counsel, trust the pattern. A single incident can be a misunderstanding. A pattern is data, and data, however uncomfortable, is always more useful than the story you are telling yourself to avoid having to act on it. The practice. Recall moments when information you shared privately ended up somewhere it should not have, or when your known vulnerabilities seem to surface at precisely the worst moments in your interactions with a specific person. List them, not to build resentment, but to build clarity. Clarity is the beginning of every good decision you will ever make. Sign number 7. They cannot support your growth without making it about themselves. The final and perhaps most telling sign, because this is the one that reveals, more than any other, what a person actually wants from you. Machiavelli understood that the people who benefit from your staying exactly as you are will never be able to fully support your becoming something more, not because they are monsters, but because your growth changes the dynamic. It shifts the balance. It makes you less dependent, less predictable, less available in the ways they have come to rely on. And the self-interested part of every person, even the ones who genuinely care about you, will resist that shift in ways they may not even be fully aware of. The fake friend, however, does not simply resist your growth privately. They insert themselves into it in ways that slow it down, redirect it, or make it somehow about them. When you start pursuing something new, they have done something similar before and it did not work out, and they feel compelled to tell you why. When you begin to change, to develop edges where you used to be accommodating, to occupy more space than you used to, they are concerned. This does not seem like you. Are you okay? You seem different lately. The concern sounds caring. What it actually is pressure to return to the version of you that was more comfortable for them to be around. When you succeed at something they could not discourage, they position themselves close to the success. They remind people of their role in it. They become an essential part of the narrative of your achievement, even when their actual contribution was minimal or non-existent. Real friends are enlarged by your growth. They celebrate it without reservation, support it without conditions, and stand beside the new version of you with the same warmth they had for the old one. Because a real friend is not invested in any particular version of you. They are invested in you. And you, growing, evolving, becoming more of what you are capable of being, is everything they wanted. That distinction between the people organized around a version of you and the people organized around you is the clearest line Machiavelli's entire framework leads toward. The practice. Announce a new direction to the people closest to you, something that represents genuine growth or change. Then observe who lights up and who dims, who asks questions out of curiosity and who asks questions out of concern that you are moving outside their frame. The responses will sort your circle more accurately than years of observation in stable conditions ever could. 7 signs, pulled from 5 centuries of the most clear-eyed observation of human nature ever committed to paper. 1. They appear closest when you have the most to offer. 2. They celebrate your struggles more than your successes. 3. They know your secrets but share none of their own. 4. They position themselves between you and other people. 5. Their loyalty is always conditional on your compliance. 6. They use your information against you. 7. They cannot support your growth without making it about themselves. Now here is what Machiavelli would want you to do with this knowledge. Not become paranoid, not close yourself off from every connection, not treat everyone as a suspect until proven innocent. That is its own prison, and it is not what he prescribed. What he prescribed was discernment, the slow, steady, clear-eyed practice of watching what people do over time rather than taking on faith what they say in a single moment, of extending trust proportionally to what has actually been demonstrated, of protecting your most valuable resources, your time, your energy, your secrets, your emotional access, the way you would protect anything else of extraordinary value. Not by hiding it, but by being thoughtful about who deserves it. Real friendship is one of the rarest and most valuable things a human life can contain. Machiavelli knew this. He was not against it. He was for protecting it by being honest about what it actually looks like versus what we sometimes allow ourselves to believe, because the truth is harder to face. You deserve people who celebrate you completely, who show up when it costs them something to show up, who hold your secrets like something sacred, who want you to grow even when your growth makes you harder to hold on to. Those people exist, and the only way to find them and keep them is to be clear-eyed enough to recognize who they are not. If this video showed you something real, share it with someone who needs to see it. And if you want to keep going deeper into the real psychology of power, loyalty, and human behavior, subscribe, because we are just getting started.